Woo, it was a race to get everybody up before the music, before the head banging stopped. Right, in celebration of Louisiana Championship Day, we have the voice of at John Dooley. John, how are you tonight?
Doing good. Enjoying some football, handicapping the races, and looking forward to our big 2021 Louisiana Champions Day here on Saturday, noon post time. 13 races, some quarter horse stakes to handicap too. So really look forward to getting into it.
Let me introduce you to the green guy over here. That's the Grinch, otherwise known as Hollywood. Hey, Terry, how are you tonight?
Good. Am I green?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you, Tom? Or John? I'm sorry.
Doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Green means money on Saturday for all of us.
I guess it does. I don't know how I got green, but I'm green.
That's all right, Terry. It's good to be green, my friend.
Yep.
Green with right. And then we have Swiss Army Shawn. He's the one that's been communicating with you. If you haven't known, Shawn's the one that set up the Q&A. And if you haven't had a chance to check that out, go on over to horseracingtoday.net. Interesting Q&A with John. I hope you had fun answering those questions.
Yeah, I forgot when Shawn asked the question about kind of that moment, one moment that you can think back. I can't believe that happened. I almost forgot about calling Gopher Wand and the Beldame and Cacoethes and the Turf Classic back then during my Naira Belmont Park years. And that's a true story. My binoculars actually broke, and they had a binocular rental stand to the clubhouse at Belmont Park, and took the press box elevator down, went there, and called some grade 1 races at Belmont with a pair of rented binoculars. So yeah, I can't believe that happened there. But it did.
Well, maybe we can rent the good handicapper for next time,
That's
right,
Tom.
Yep, that would be good.
How you doing tonight, Tom?
I'm hanging in there. John, what's your favorite track to call races at?
Well, now it's the Fairgrounds. So
Yeah,
it's the only
of
track
course.
I'm pulling races at, but
You can even mention one that is no longer with us.
Well, for 22 years, I mean, that to me was just a mecca of racing there. I mean, Arlington, just the grand dame of racing, over 95 years old, and I really love calling races there. Had the pleasure to call so many runnings of the Arlington Million. Got a tweet tonight, by the way, from Robbie Alvarado, and he showed his winning jockey trophy from when he rode Jambalaya. Catherine Day Phillips became the first female trainer to ever win the Arlington Million that year, first Canadian-bred horse, Jambalaya. That was a great finish that year. Robbie in a driving finish, and he shared a tweet, a picture of his Arlington Million winning trophy, and appreciated Robbie doing that. And of course, he announced his retirement. Marty McGee tweeted that out the other day. The Daily Race Worms, Marty McGee on Saturday. So as we run Louisiana Champions Day here Saturday, around the 7th race at Turfway Park, Robbie will ride the last race of his career. But really enjoyed it about winning the Arlington Million. It was one of his favorite trophies of all time, and certainly calling races there, Tom, a highlight for me.
You know what's crazy is going to Arlington. I've gone to Arlington many, many, many times as Tom, and I've heard the voice. But it's now that it's here, it's kind of an interesting experience. What do you say, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Being named the announcer there back in 2000, and back those days. Actually, the first Chicago area track that I called that was Sportsman's Park. So called it Sportsman's, the then home of the Illinois Derby. So had a chance to watch Larry Sterling ride the Bob Springer trained War Emblem to win the Illinois Derby before, of course, going on to win the Kentucky Derby and Preakness Stakes for different connections. But Sportsman's Park was a bit of my March and April home for 3 seasons there in Chicago. And ever since 2000, of course, I've been calling races at Arlington too.
Before we go on, John, I got a couple questions too. Now, some people, they dream about being an announcer because they can't be a jockey or whatever.
That was for me too. That was mine.
So what part of that dream is true and you absolutely love your job, and what part of that dream didn't you realize and how hard it is?
Yeah, Shawn, I mean, I guess going back when we did that Q&A the other day, that when my family and I would vacation in upstate New York in Lake Luzerne, so not that far from Lake George, not too far, just down the road from Saratoga Springs. And I remember that first time just going on the grandstand apron with my family and friends, and there was a great group of people at this ranch resort, some old timers, and they used to love talking about horse racing. In fact, one of them's name was Louis Capicella from the Capicella family. Of course, Fred Capicella, a long time the voice of the New York Racing Association, was Cappy, and it was a great group of people. And when they started talking about the horses and racing, I wanted to check it out for myself, but going there to Saratoga, looking up at the time, Marshall Cassidy was the announcer at Saratoga, Belmont Park, and Aqueduct during the pre-Tom Durkin days. But looking up to the booth and thinking, wow, that's a cool job. I'd really love to do that. I mentioned that the other day in our Q&A. So I feel it's fortunate. I think and that was one thing about Arlington. We'd always have these Pepsi family days. We do a lot of things for young fans, kids and their families. And when I'd see the young kids come out, have a chance to meet them. And I would always think that one might look up toward the announcer booth and think maybe that's something, I'd like to do one day, if not a jockey, if not a trainer, if not something else, maybe something involved with a racing official or maybe even a track announcer. So that was definitely how I got started, at Saratoga. So I'd always like to push somebody for a career in horse racing, because certainly the sport has changed in the recent years with more of that, gaming push for a lot of different venues.
Why is it, too, that you brought up about the Kids' Day and how Arlington Park was so good? Why do other tracks not do that? What is the reason it's not pushed as hard?
Well, I would only think in the last couple of years, maybe in Arlington, this was the case with Arlington, too, and down here at the fairgrounds, obviously with the pandemic. But pre-pandemic, going back to 2019, I don't know the answer for that. I mean, I think some tracks, do. It seems like Canterbury. I mean, wow, they've had like a bit of a resurgence the last couple of years, and they bring out a lot of young fans and kind of cater their racing product and their cards to new fans, different innovative ways to run races there. And I think that's great that they sometimes try to switch things up a little bit. Paul Allen is actually calling the Vikings game as we speak, I think, for the Vikings radio against the Steelers tonight. But, they do a great job there. And other tracks, I think, try to, tailor their schedules. More and more tracks now try to get the horse players in on Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. But some still run on Saturdays for their families. I know Indiana Grand mentioned they're going to run some Saturdays next year to try to bring some of the families out, get some on-track fans back through the gates, and really look forward to tracks that do that and try to get more and more fans back out to the races. I mean, it's great to hear the roar of the crowd.
Yeah, I look forward to having people come back to the races too. I think it's a big part of the thing, and it's a big part of the experience to be at the track. And I have to say that, person after person that we bring on, like yourself, that when we ask them the question, how did you get involved in horse racing? It's always my dad, my mom, or my crazy uncle, right? It's one of those three. Never a crazy aunt, but always the crazy. Why is it the aunts are never crazy, but just the uncle?
Mine was a limo driver.
Any thoughts on that?
Mine was a limo driver, so mine is completely off.
Yeah, why did you go there on accident or something?
No, actually, he was driving me a ride back from the airport, because I used to go out to school out east, and he said, "Oh, you should come out to the track one time with me, and we'll show you how to bet." And I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." So drove out there one day at Arlington, and that's when it started.
How about you, Terry? How did you get started?
Oh, I started really young. The first time my dad took me to the races, he was carrying me because I was only about, 9 months old. And I guess I reached in his pocket and pulled out a couple of tickets and threw them down, and they were winning tickets. And then the really vivid memory I remember is when I was 8 years old, very first horse I got to bet on, my dad bet for me, bet $2 to win Colonel Cross, and it won and paid $68.60 and beat my dad's horse by like a nose, and he was kind of upset about that. So that's how I got started.
To the races.
What track was that at?
Mad at you both times, huh?
Sorry, what track was that at?
That was at Tanforan. Remember that old track, Tanforan? Yeah, that was way back when. So, and then of course he's taken me to Bay Meadows and Golden Gate Fields, and we did the fair circuit all the time, and used to go all the time. So I used to sit on the kitchen counter and listen to Jockey O'Connor, which was a person I'd hear that it would announce the races and you could buy tips from him. And I'd watch from my mother because she hated for me to do that. When I'd see her pulling the driveway, I'd change the radio to some music channel and then start acting like I was washing the dishes. So.
And then she'd be mad at you for listening to that crazy rock and roll music, Terry.
Yeah.
See, why don't you put the races on or something and get that crazy music off the radio?
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Yep, absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
Hey, Tom, I mean, John, I have a question for you. And sorry, I keep calling you Tom.
No,
You know,
there's Tom.
I know Tom and Tom Dooley, the music. But anyway,
John.
Yeah, I was wondering, in your career so far, what has been your favorite race to have called?
Wow, I mean, watching. I mean, just having been being down here at Fairgrounds right now. I mean, Rachel Alexandra pops into my head. Having a chance to watch watch her run. And I was even thinking back. Speaking of Robbie Alvarado, I was a big fan of Einstein. I love the Grade 2 Muniz Memorial is run here, and Einstein with Robbie having won that years ago, one of his great stakes wins. But I still always go back to getting back into about the crowd being out at the races. I'll never forget the crowd reaction when the Pizza Man, the Illinois bred, won the Arlington Million. That was just a thrill. You can feel the energy in the crowd, and that's something you only get when there are fans in the stands. And that was a moment I'll definitely never forget. And Rich and Karen, Midwest Thoroughbreds, I mean, they sent me a bridle. The Pizza Man, and he's now at the Old Friends Farm. So I hope I'll have a chance to go visit him and say thanks for the memories one day. But the Pizza Man, Terry, winning that Arlington Million for the late Roger Brueggemann with Florent Giroux, I'll never forget.
Right.
Speaking of races, early races at on Louisiana Championship Day are quarter horse, what I call the ping pong ball racing.
Watch the start.
Yeah, so if someone's going to bet, the entire card, and they're not familiar with the quarter horses, the little stocky guys out there running and then going sideways and smashing into each other. And from your perspective, if you're looking at those horses to handicap, the most common thing we get is get the ones that go straight and fast. Can you add anything to that?
I just follow whoever Martha Clausen picks. I mean, Martha does a great job. She'll be joining us on Saturday. Martha Clausen with Joe Christofek. We have Kevin Kilroy, part of the broadcast team this year here at the Fairgrounds. Trust your luck, as Kevin says. But Martha's a great quarter horse expert. And, I always defer to her when it comes to the quarter horse picks. But for a few years, it used to be the outside paths at the Fairgrounds. Even in the Louisiana Champions Day Quarter Horse Classic, which starts us off this year, we have the Derby and the Quarter Horse Juvenile. But the outside paths at the Fairgrounds tended to be the winning paths. So I'll maybe keep an eye on for some of those outside draws like 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 12 horses in the second race of the day, that quarter horse race on Champions Day. So maybe the outside paths, or maybe that's where the best quarter horse dirt is to run a straight path.
All right. Sounds good, because I always struggle with the ping pong ball horses. We're going to move on to the thoroughbreds. We'll start with the Louisiana Champion Day Sprint. It's a 6 furlong race. Let me pull up the stuff here. And you can see that it's, like I said, 6 furlongs, the Louisiana Champion Day Sprint. When you look at this race, John, what do you think? Terry almost had me call you John there. I was just, wait a minute. Was I going to say John too?
Just say Dooley.
Yes. But when you look at this race at 6 furlongs, I mean, so far at the meet, you had mentioned that you felt like speed was in play. Do you feel like speed will be in play in this 6 furlong race too?
I think as you scroll down, there's a grade 1 winner will be in play too. I mean, no parole when you talk about the speed, but just a ton of speed as we've seen over the years in the Louisiana Champions Day Sprint. Race 10, 4:23 p.m. Central Post time. But there's been nobody hotter here at the Fairgrounds this meet than Marcelino Pedroza Jr. He wins 5 races on Sunday's card, 4 of those for Sam David Jr. So a couple of hot combinations, jockey and trainer going forward this race week here at the Fairgrounds. With that said, Marcelino won the first race today, so he actually had a nice little win streak going. But he's on a horse, Sir Wellington. And I just like this horse's style, that there was so much speed in the Champions Day sprint. I think, last time out, Oaklawn Park, at the finishing up his season in the spring at Oaklawn Park, I think, he needed his last start, gets it under the Twin Spires, comes back here, has, the hot jockey Marcelino Pedroza Jr., Hugh Robertson, speaking of the Arlington Million, of course, 2 Emmys, won the Arlington Million in August up at Arlington. But I love the jockey trainer combination, and he's a past winner. Weather-wise, forecast, as you start getting later in the card here on Saturday, some rain chances. This horse won the Juvenile last year on a sloppy track. I'm not saying we're going to have a sloppy track, muddy track. It was an off track when he won the Juvenile last year. Not saying it's going to be, an off track this year for the sprint, but we'll see as we get later through the card on Saturday. But I really like a horse like Sir Wellington, a winner over the track. He won on an off track last year for the Juvenile, and I think he might get a great pace setup. But again, you have no parole. Monty Man's an absolute gladiator for Ron Fauché, last year's leading trainer. But I think the sprint this year might set up nicely for Sir Wellington.
Set up for an off the pace horse. Terry, who do you think it's going to set up well for? You're on mute, my friend. You're still on mute?
Yep, nope. I'm
There you
not
go.
now. I'm making all kinds of mistakes. Oh, well.
That's all right, Terry.
I like
It's a horse racing show. We're going to make mistakes.
which I've done for over 60 years. Anyway,
That's all right.
I like number
That's
5.
how my mom and dad said I came in the world. So what more
Birdie.
do you expect?
Yeah, Birdie's Galaxy, number 5, I like. It won 3 out of the last 4 races, winning the last race by 3.5 lengths. And the trainer wins 26% of the races when he brings a horse back that won its last race. He's won 50% of his races at Fairgrounds and has a bullet workout on December 3rd at Fairgrounds at 4 furlongs, 47.2 breezing, the best out of 69. And then I like number 2, Monty Man. Monty Man has actually finished 3rd in his last race, earning the highest last speed rating. And he has the highest speed figure at today's distance and a good 4 furlong workout, 48.2 breezing, 9th best out of 69. He likes his track, winning 6 out of 9 races at Fairgrounds. And then I like number 7, Pickens. Pickens has finished in the money 70% of the time this year, won 50% of those races, and he likes his distance of the track. And then I like the No Pearl, number 10, the one that's a grade 1 winner. He's won 2 out of 2 races at Fairgrounds, so he's perfect there. His first race back after a break of 6 months, he didn't do very well, but he's had some pretty good workouts since then. So I'm going to throw that last race out. And the shorter distance should help. The trainer wins 25% of the time when bringing a beaten favorite back to the next race.
Shawn, you're much of the pace guy, so you see a lot of hotness here, and you're going to go off the pace, or you're going to go for the speed of the speed?
No, there's a lot of speed, so I'm just going to go with the speed of the speed. I'm going number 10, No Parole from the outside. A perfect 2 for 2 at Fairgrounds, 3 for 5 at the distance. Been working out great since racing a month and a half ago, and speed in the outside post has been really good so far this meet. And then I'm going to go for second. I'll go off the pace. I'll go with that Warrior number 2, Monty Man. Loves Fairgrounds, winning 6 of 9 races with 2/3. Plenty of pace in here for a horse to run up and get in the exacta. And then third, I went with number 5, Birdie's Galaxy. Will be a part of the pace, and if he gets the lead, it could be dangerous. Likes Fairgrounds, winning half his races, 4 of 8 with 2 seconds, and working out great since his last race 2 months ago. Has finished in the exacta in 14 of his 20 starts.
And what's your angles for this race there, Mr. Longshot Tom?
I'm going to launch. I took Mark Cassie's horse, number 6, Swath Analyst. I tossed the last race. That was a workout. Turf, didn't like it. It was run good on the all-weather up in Woodbine. High-end allowance race, beat some good horses. And then they put him a little over his head into the Derby, which is a grade 3 up there, and he didn't finish the final furlong. Is the best way to describe it. He won his maiden against states-bred horses at the Fairgrounds, and I like Mark Cassie. I think it's a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Pickens as my second choice. It's a nice claim for 12.5 from Steve Asmussen. because they've already won some money, and they certainly paid for this horse. And that last speed rating at Delta at 5 furlongs was an excellent race. The matter is is he good enough to sit on the front end with all these other horses? And then that's going to be a question. Mm-hmm. And like John, I liked Sir Wellington. I'm going to throw one out there, John, that I liked was number non-graded stakes races for Hubert Robertson. He's 41% win percentage with a positive ROI. So he gets him ready for these, what you would call lesser races. And I always like that angle because let's face it, you win money wherever you can get it. And if you place your horse right, you can get the dough.
You get the money. You run for the money, quite literally, in this sport. I went with the 5-horse Birdie's Galaxy. Good horse for the course. 8 runs at the track. 4 wins. 2 seconds. Get him off that course. 12 other races. Only 4 wins in those. I have the 2-horse as my second pick. Monty Man, another horse for the Fairgrounds course. Crossed that track 9 times. Finished in the winner's circle, where Terry and I like to see everybody's picks end 6 times. I have the 4-horse Sir Wellington, as many others here do. And then I wrapped up my picks with number 6, SWOT Analysis. 2 runs over the fairground track, a win and a second. Last time out on the turf, he's going to show some early speed, I feel like. But when you look back at those fairground races, that debut win that made in 47,000, if you could repeat that win, that 9 3/4 length win, I feel like that race would be good enough to win this race. Sorry, I left you up there like that, Tom. I was too eager to get out what I wanted to say to put myself in there. So now we're going to flip over to the next race, which is race number 11. This is 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. And as we mentioned before, there is a possibility of a little bit of weather, but it looks like it might hold off. So if, like, John, what's kind of like the policy there to go from turf to dirt?
Well, I mean, just when you get some of that, moisture that really pops up here in the New Orleans area. I saw the forecast as of this morning and even this afternoon. Chances are later in the day on Saturday, so I'm hoping by 4:52 p.m. Central that we'll get the Louisiana Champions Day turf in. On the Stowe Wilson Turf Course. First time this meet, we had the rail set at 20 feet for the Thursday card, and it'll be that way for the Friday program as well. And warm weather here. It's been very warm. Turf has been firm. So let's just kind of hopefully we'll keep the wet weather for later in the evening on Saturday and see what the Sunday card has, because Saturday's a big day for a lot of the horsemen and obviously all of the horse players too for Champions Day.
Mm-hmm. So at a turf course, what should people be looking for in terms of bias? Are we looking for closers, the ones that hug the leaders, speed? What do you think? I mean, I've always liked a horse that that tends to have that positional pace. But for example, in the Champions Day turf, you've got Mangelson that just figures. I mean, again, Marcelino Pedrosa, he's the leading jockey thus far with this meet, one up over Colby Hernandez. They're kind of back and forth at the top of the leaderboard, Marcelino and Colby. But after 5 wins on Sunday and another one today in the opener for Marcelino, and wow, I mean, you've got the hot jockey, you've got the horse that has early pace. Mangelson from the rail. I tend to look for a horse like Carly's Dream that can kind of just be sitting just off the pace, come with a bit of a Raylu rally, as we've said here. First year riding with us at the Fairgrounds, Raylu Gutierrez, and he's really made a quick impression on a lot of us up in the press box, talking about Raylu Gutierrez. He also sometimes he'll go out of town and ride at Oak Lawn Park if he has the calls there too. But a horse like Carly's Dream, I think might get a really good setup and 3 for 4 at the distance, a mile and a 16th. Rail at 20 feet as we go through the weekend. So I'm looking for a horse like Carly's Dream to run well. And again, already a stakes winner at Louisiana Downs this year for his connections. Maybe Ray Lou ought to make some T-shirts that say Ray Lou Rally, right? Have the basketball games.
I at least want 10% of that.
Yes, but like in basketball games at halftime, they have the T-shirt throws.
Ray Lou Rally.
So if he wins, then he could have somebody waiting for him at the winner's circle, and then he could throw out the Ray Lou Rally T-shirts. I think that'd be a great kind of touch to connect with the with the fans.
I like it, but I'm sure Mangelson and, Mitchell Morrill, he's year in and year out. He's ridden very well here at the Fairgrounds. He's coming off a suspension. He rode in the stakes race last Saturday, the Turf Sprint Stakes here at the Fairgrounds, but he's been on suspension. Last year was right there toward the top of the leaderboard. Seems like for every season here at the Fairgrounds since he started riding here with us in New Orleans, Mitchell's been right there, and he's on another horse that has pace. I'm a Cowboy too for Gary Shearer and the Owellings. And, again, if Bangelson faces pace pressure, is prompted by a horse like I'm a Cowboy too. That's why I thought it might set up for a horse like Carly's Dream that should be close up throughout.
Ready to go. Shawn, like I said, you like to do the pace analysis, and that's how you basically do your handicapping. So when you did your pace analysis and you did your handicapping, how did your numbers line up?
I had about 3 horses that might go for the lead. Number 1, Mangelson, of course, and then number 8, get them Justin, and number 9, I'm a Cowboy too. I just thought Mangelson from the rails is going to be the speed of those 3. And so far in the meet, almost 40% of those horses in the race on the turf have gone wire to wire. Has won 2 of 3 at Fairgrounds. It's finishing exact at the distance in 10 of 13 races. Also has won 4 of 6 races this year as a 5-year-old. Then I went Highland Creek, won and broke his maiden on its only turf start. And if you throw out his 2 off-track starts, he's 5 of 6, winning half of them. 5 of 6 in the exacta, winning half of them. And then number 4, Jets Lucky 8, 2 for 2 on turf, including 1 for 1 at Fairgrounds. Just had James Grant on him at last race at Fairgrounds and on the turf, so getting a lot of things familiar that he just won with.
The things that made him comfortable enough to make it to the winner's circle. Tom, who are you putting in the winner's circle?
Oh, I'm going to take number 6. Who took the money? Because I love his antics. He always just does something. And to be nice about it, he's misbehaved in the paddock. He's misbehaved at the starting gate. He sometimes gets off slow. But interestingly, he's won his first 3 races against state breds in Louisiana, from 6 furlongs to a mile and 16th. So he's been right there. Last time he misbehaved again and missed a break. So you never know what you're going to get with this horse. He went to Indiana Downs, got a slow start, yet he won. So a little lesser competition he's been able to beat without even misbehaving. The turf race at Churchill Downs, he sat behind him and just didn't finish, is the best way to describe it. So if he doesn't misbehave, he could run a really good race. If he does misbehave, he could be still running a good race.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it doesn't matter.
You never know what we're going to get with this horse. And John may have some fun because he's flipped in the paddock before. He's just a handful.
But I definitely like his style. I mean, I love the fact that he's not that far off the pace. He doesn't go totally drop out the back. And again, Mangelson, from a pace perspective, he'll be in front with Marcelino. Mitchell has I'm a Cowboy too close. But who took the money to Shawn Parker? He rode with us a few years ago. He's back again, spending the winter here, at the Fairgrounds. He won the finale today, so great to see him back in the winner's circle, riding with us at the Fairgrounds. And I know he's on your pick. So, but I certainly like his running style if he behaves.
If he behaves, which who knows at this point. I did like Highland Creek, one of Shawn's picks. The one thing that Shawn didn't mention was that the gate work at Churchill Downs. I thought that was an interesting prep for this race. So they're looking to get some speed out of this horse and get a good break. And I think it's going to need it in this race. And then I went with number 3, Carlita's Dream. Can't beat its record. 15 starts on the turf, 5 wins, 5 seconds, 1/3. He's 3 for 4 at this distance. He's beaten some of these horses before up at Louisiana Downs. My only issue with him is a little bit of a layoff. I don't know how sharp if he's going to be sharp enough. And hopefully he will, because I could easily see him beat this bunch.
Terry, who thinks going to beat this bunch?
Well, I like number 1, Mangelson. He's won 3 out of the last 4 races. He won his last race by a length and 3/4. And he earned the highest last race speed rating doing that. He likes the turf, finishing in the money in 12 out of 13 races, and he won 6 of those races. And then I like number 4, Zeb's Lucky 8, on his last start at Fairgrounds Racetrack. which was his second race on the turf where he's won both. He's perfect. Then I like number 5, Who Took the Money, has won 3 of his starts at Fairgrounds on the dirt. He did not take to a sloppy track last time, but he tries turf for the second time. And then I like number 3, Carlia's Dream. Won 5 races out of 15 races on the turf and finished 5 times second on the turf. The distance of this race doesn't present any problems for him, as he has won 3 out of 4 races at this distance.
I did chronological handicapping, guys. I made this one real easy for everybody to remember. I went just straight from the rail out. Number 1, Mangleson. We've talked a lot of reasons why we should like that horse. Number 2, Highland Creek. Last time out, won by 7. Second time off a layoff, should do pretty well. So I'm hoping to see a good effort in round number 2 off the bench. Number 3, Carlia's Dream. It's a horse that I expect will come off the bench and run pretty well. Has run at the distance 4 times. Has a trio of W's and a really nice bullet workout. Last time it hit the track for a training session. I'm a big fan, as people know, when we do the daily show, Terry and I, at 1 o'clock Eastern. I'm a big fan of the bullet and go, horses that put a bullet and then go to the track to race. And then finally, I got a little bit of a long shot in here. I have number 4, Jeb's Lucky 8. That last run at Fairgrounds was off the pace. Should be one if they can repeat, if you get a lot of early pace, should be. I mean, it's going to have the favorite right in front of it, so it should be pretty easy for James Graham to keep an eye on him. And James Graham down in Louisiana, I mean, that guy wins plenty of races down there, so I'm not opposed to having Mr. Graham, and I'm not opposed to 20-1 odds either. I hope that one wins for sure. Finally, it's the last stakes race of the day before they give everybody, about 30 minutes to get out of the parking lot for all the private jets to get out of there?
I still have to call the maiden finale. I have to call the maiden finale, race 13.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be ready to by the time they get to the maiden, you're going to be almost out of voice, but you got good practice with that, as you mentioned, yelling at Jim Boeheim as a kid, right?
That's true.
For 3.5 hours of straight screaming.
You got root against the Orangemen. As a former St. John's graduate, Jim Boeheim was always my blood boiling rivalry.
I thought it would be for sure Patrick Ewing in the Georgetown Hoys, but no. All right. Race 12, back to 6 furlongs. It's the Louisiana Championship Day Lassie Stakes. Again, 6 furlongs usually favors speed. Which horse do you like the most in here, John?
Well, 9-5 morning line favorite is the 5, Feel Like a Girl. And first time I've seen this trainer, Chasey Pommier. He's never run really with us at the Fairgrounds. He claimed one the other day, but I think this is at least maybe one of his first ever stake starters with us at the Fairgrounds, and it comes on Champions Day here in the Lassie with post time 5:21 approximately Central. But I like Basalt Street the win last time out. Breaking the maiden was just really impressive. With Mitchell Murrell back on board for Gary Shearer and the Allwellings, over the years they've really supported the racing here during the winter months at the Fairgrounds. But I've got a little inside information for my top pick that comes from the owner of A Whole Lot of Mo, Stephen Thompson. He sent me a note the other day that she had won 2 in a row, but then last time out, absolute clunker at Delta Downs in the Louisiana Jewel there in Vinton. But Stephen, her owner, told me that she flipped her pallet. So on the running line, big excuse last time out. And trainer Scotty Gellner, he's winning at 25% this season. He's done well here in the past as the Scott Gellner stable. And having flipped her pallet last time out, they seem to have gotten everything righted with her. She had won 2 races before that happened, running at Delta Downs. Some horses, of course, they don't necessarily, even on a good day, even if they're 100% top of their form, they don't necessarily acclimate to the tighter turns at Delta Downs. They come back here or wherever it might be, Louisiana Downs, Evangeline Downs, in other starts, and they fare a lot better. But having an excuse last time out, that's the excuse for her. She's 15-1 on the morning line. Tim Thornton, my former buddy from Chicago, of course, he rides down here in Louisiana now full-time, does great at Delta Downs, Evangeline Downs. And I'm going to go for Tim for an old school Chicago win on a 15-1 morning line. A whole lot of Mo. Go Mo Tom.
Yes, the 2-horse. I would imagine that horse's odds are likely to probably go up too, but not after this, because you come to the Player's Edge to get some inside information that you cannot get anywhere else, Shawn. So now it's up to you. You got a lot of pressure on you to provide some information that nobody else has. What do you
Yeah,
get? All right, see you later. Tom? No, just kidding.
So I got those Ray Lou rally towels that I don't think it's gonna be much rallying. Number 8, Dream on it, 2 for 2 lifetime, both wins by coming by more than 4 lengths. We'll be close to the pace early. One last race, same distance, same jockey, same track, and Ray Lou Gutierrez has had a great year and a great start to the meet. Then I went number 7, Balsat Street, won last impressively, which was her first time at Fairgrounds with Mitchell Morrell. In 3 races, never finished worse than second. Will be close to the pace, but doesn't need to lead. And then I went with the favorite, number 5, Feel Like a Girl. Most experienced horse in the field. As this will be her 9th race already as a 2-year-old. Has never finished out of the trifecta. Won 3 in a row. And Pedro Cotto Jr. has won 4 or 5 races with her. And he's there Saturday.
Tom, I meant to really go to you first. I don't know how that happened, but because I have my little list to make sure that everybody gets to go first. So after the show, I don't get it. How come I never get to go first? No, I'm just kidding. It never.
Well,
Rich just wanted to take a dig at me. That's why.
No.
You didn't know how to flip out.
I would have did the same thing to Tom. It's just my segue. Take the last thing the previous person says, reword it, and send it back to the other guy. Go ahead, Tom.
That's the way it goes, right? Mm-hmm. I picked number 6, Medley, is my top choice. Winner against Open Company, maidens, and it really got top speed rating, and he's really better than this field is. Steve Asmussen trained. He's placing her here for a reason. Get some money like he normally does, and she's been in the money in all her maiden races, so it's not like she's not been trying. And maybe just needed to figure it out. And I think a little softer company against state breds could be her right where she needs to be. Dream on It was my next choice, 2 for 2. Interesting claim from Dallas Stewart. They put her in for 30, and somebody was smart enough to take her. If she runs back to her last race, she wins. But we'll see. They're 2-year-olds. Who knows?
Never.
And like John, I like Whole Lot of Mo. My angle was 2 turns at Delta, because let's face it, that's can be a challenge for a lot of horses. And if like good old sportsmen's, you blow that first turn, that clubhouse turn, you're done. They don't recover from that, and maybe this horse just doesn't like the 2 turns. It prefers, if it's going to run 7, it's going to run at 1 turn. And that's kind of the angle I'm going to take on that one, and that's why I put it in.
How about you, Terry? What did you put in? See how I took what Tom had to say, reworded it, and threw it back to Terry.
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm thinking a lot like Shawn tonight. I like number 8, Dream on It.
Poor guy, I feel bad for you.
He's not with the guest.
Which one?
Well, with Shawn. Yeah, I liked number 8, Dream on It. It's 2. She's 2 for 2 in her career. She won her last race at Fair Grounds Racetrack, and she's got the high percentage jockey, and her early speed running style will help her chances. And then I like number 5, the favorite, Morning Line favorite, Feel Like a Girl, has won 3 races in a row and has never finished out of the money in her 8 racing career. And the trainer wins 60% of the time that he runs a horse in the non-graded stakes. And then I like number 10, One Day. Won her maiden race after being well bet in her debut, and she has a few decent workouts. And then I like number 7, Balsalt Street. Won her last race at Fairgrounds easily. She has finished in the money in all 3 of her career races at 3 different tracks.
For me, I don't know what it's about me. I'm clumping my picks together tonight. I have the 8 horse on top, Dream on It. First 2 races, neither one's been competitive, was a 1-2 favorite. Nice improvement in the early pace and mid-pace figures last time out. Maybe a little bit of a drop-off, but that race looks to me like it was an easy race for that horse to win. So I feel like Dream on It and Ray Lou will have a lot left. I don't think she had to put everything into that race. My next pick is the 5 horse, so I agree with you guys. Free Like a Girl. Terry and I, we agree from that perspective, and then we break apart because I'm going to go with the 7 horse next. and that's Basalt Street. Last time off in the maiden, blew everybody off the field at by 8 lengths. Saw a nice improvement in those fractions, which is something I really like to see. 2 races back at 6.5 furlongs, and it could be a tight turn thing, but 49 seconds and improved its 4 furlong time by almost 3 seconds, which I don't care what track you're going. That's a big improvement, 3 seconds. And then finally, I ended my picks with number 6, Medley. It's another horse that won its maiden last time out. And when we had on Steve Matthews, he mentioned when you look at these races, if you go back to see where horses run and win their maidens, usually that class does at times play out in races. She won in a $92,000 race at Churchill Downs, which I think is the highest graduator in terms of class, if you will, at the top of the class of all the horses in the field. So I went 8, 5, 7, 6, and that's after going 1, 2, 3, 4 in the race before that. So that wraps up our picks for the Louisiana Championship Day races down there at Fairgrounds. John, if folks want to keep up with you off the track, where can they find you?
John G. Dooley, right there on the screen. Try to send out tweets every day with the track conditions in the morning, our turf rail position, and who's hot and who's not. So, just follow me at John G. Dooley.
Fantastic. Make sure you check them out. You can head on over to horseracingtoday.net. You'll see the question and answer there. And in the story, we do have a link to his Twitter page. So make sure you head over and keep track of what John's up to, especially if you're betting at Fairgrounds. Shawn, if folks want to keep up with us, what do they do?
Horse Race Today, Facebook and Twitter, and the 2.
And that's the number 2, by the way, not the word.
And also subscribe right here on the YouTube.
Absolutely. Tom and I will be back tomorrow at the 1 o'clock slot Eastern time. There's some big races, Tom. Where are they this weekend?
We're going to Hong Kong. There's 4 top races at roughly $12 million available, and no U.S. horses, but rest of the world's represented nicely. So France, England, Dubai, Japan, and of course the home team and Australia. And there's one really super horse in there by the name of Golden 60, who's won 18 out of 19 races. And this horse really is very special in terms of the miler and other distances too, and beaten top company.
So yeah, Tom and I will be going over that 1 o'clock Eastern, same place, the Horse Racing Radar TV. You can catch us, as Shawn said. He'll socialize, as I call it, on Twitter and Facebook at Horse Race 2, the number 2 day. Both handles are the same. Terry and I will be back on Saturday. We're going to do a live broadcast. Terry, where are we live broadcasting?
Oh, we're going to do that from Oaklawn Park, so that ought to be fun. I think it's made a great day.
Yeah, Terry and I were contemplating between Fairgrounds, John, and Oaklawn Park. And it wasn't that we didn't want to do Fairgrounds. We just looked at how long it was. We're like, one's 4 hours, one's 6 hours. Terry, which one do you want to do? He's like, the 4-hour one. I'm like, I'm with you 100%. We were on the same page right there.
The corned beef sandwich went out over the char-grilled oysters?
Yeah, it did. After 2 hours difference is a big. See what Terry and I do, we do live, like for everything, kind of like, you guys do between races with Joe Christofek and everybody, but we bring up different data and we don't take a break like Joe does. We basically talk the whole time. And it's after about 3.5, 4 hours, there's not a whole lot left in there. I must feel like you felt at the Madison Square Garden back in the 80s for sure.
Yeah, or every other Louisiana Champions Day where we run 13 races. But really looking forward to it, guys. Appreciate being on with all of you and all who joined here tonight. But 150 years of history at the Fairgrounds. We're celebrating 150 and really look forward to a great day of racing, and good luck with all your bets on Saturday. Yeah,
we look forward to good luck with your bets and hopefully our picks and your picks. They end up where, Terry?
In the winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic night, everybody. Good luck at the Louisiana Downs. Thanks again, John. Have a great night.
Thanks, John.